So there's a lot of people today that is rebuking Satan, that is just rebuking the devil for everything, and rebuking this spirit, that spirit, commanding this, commanding that, fasting for this, praying for that. In reality, all it really is, and this is not every case, this is just for specific ones. And so if this finds you, you'll know this is for you, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And if this is not for you, you're not going to understand what I'm saying. You're not going to hear me correctly. It's not even going to make sense to you. So you might as well keep scrolling. With that being said, it could just possibly be that you're not in position, that you're not where you need to be. It's not Satan's fault. Not that he deserves any leeway, because he don't. But it's us. We don't get enough rest as humans. We get so caught up in things that's not none of our business. We get caught up in the chaos of this world, the business of this world, just life. And we don't really stop to take a moment to invite God in everything. And I'm going to tell you something that I see happening too. And this is not every case, guys. This is just for the cases that I'm talking about. I'm seeing a lot of children passing away. I'm seeing a lot of deaths. I'm seeing a lot of this, a lot of that. And, you know, it's crazy because I hear a lot of people saying this too. Why did God let this happen to me? Why did God let my child die? Why did God let my mom die? Why did God let this happen? Why did God let my children get taken away? Why did God let me get on drugs? Why did God let me steal everything? Why did God make me rob it? Listen, no, it's stop blaming God. It's not God's fault why these things happen. It's choices that we made because of sin. It's choices that we've made. And if it's not anything we've done, it's something in the bloodline. It's something that somebody did not get right. Go read your Bible. It talks about this in the Bible too. It happened to them. It happened to them. Okay? And this is something that you've got to understand. Listen, you've got to ask yourself, when this happened, was you on your knees praying, asking God to cover your kids? Was you on your knees praying, asking God to cover your loved one? Was you on your knees inviting God to come in whatever it was that happened? No. A lot of cases, they wasn't doing this. And so when something happens, they're wondering, oh God, why did you let this happen? God's looking at it like, say it again. Why would you even say that? Because it's not God's fault. So people start targeting God. They start looking at God like it's his fault, when in reality, we need to step up as adults and take accountability for the decisions and the choices that we've made. It's not God's fault that you can't put that blunt down. It's not God's fault that you can't put the vape down. It's not God's fault that you can't stop being a hoe. It's not God's fault that you cannot be faithful in your marriage. It's not God's fault. It's your fault. Because it's something that you're not doing. And if it ain't your fault, like something specifically, then maybe it's something that wasn't in God's will, and that's what God's trying to show you. So you're going to experience warfare, torture, torment. You're going to go through this until you get it right. God will allow this to happen to you until you get to a place in your life where you say, you know what, I'm tired of this, God. I surrender this to you. Who am I to change anybody? Who am I to... I'm not. I can't. That is God's job. You see what I'm saying? This is the thing. We have to remember that in the Word, it speaks about nothing or no one can pluck us out. Can pluck us out. Nobody can do that out of God's hand. So if you have covered yourself and your loved ones and you've released them to God, I relinquish them to you, Lord. Then if anything happens, then you know it was in God's will, right? Because God is covering them. God is in control of them. The enemy can't take you out. Can't nobody take you out besides God, because he's the one that controls life and death. So this is why I'm pissed off this morning. I am going through my house in a rampage. I am, because I'm really pissed, because this is why it's important that we read our Bible and stop going by what people teaches us. Because when we come into agreement with these things, we are learning this stuff and we are passing it down to other people and not even realizing that this is polluting the world, polluting God's people, when it ain't even true. It pissed me off. And this is why I try to always make sure that anything I teach is from the Bible. Or if it's not something from the Bible, it's my testimony. It's something that I've personally went through, and I'm just sharing it in case somebody else has went through it. And it's for encouragement reasons. But I was mentored by a woman that has supposedly been doing her walk with God for 20-some years, and she taught me wrong. And as a woman, you have, or a man, if you're taught wrong and you've taught other people wrong, you have to be big and bad enough and set your pride aside and go tell that person the right way. Thank God that I didn't teach nobody what she taught me. It was just what she taught me. And so I was, and I said, no wonder I have saw people that is wanted to be delivered or needed prayer and nothing happened. It's because that's not the way Jesus said to do it. Jesus didn't go and tell them to tie cords around their body and their necks and this and that. And listen, that's why it's important to know them by their fruits, guys, because you never know what somebody's doing to you. You never know what somebody's praying. You never know when you're in front of a witch that is not really walking with Jesus. They're claiming to be to get to you. You got to open your eyes, guys. You got to. And this is why the Lord tells you will know them by their fruits. And I've been praying for God to open my eyes. I've been asking God for discernment, for spiritual wisdom. And you better believe it's not going to come in the way you want it. So sometimes God will allow these lessons and stuff to happen or things to happen in life so that you will understand and how to identify these things. So brothers and sisters, when you are in God's hands, nothing or nobody can pluck you out. So you have to trust and believe and have faith that your hands is 100% in God's hands. Your life is in God's hands, 100%. So with that being said, I just want to know if there's anybody else that has experienced any of these things that I've talked about today. If you've experienced any of this. And also, if you're one of the ones that's blaming God for the way your life is, you need to do some soul searching. You need to get right because it's not God's fault. And if you would find and seek God and try to be intimate and have a relationship with Him, I promise you, you will view Him different and you will realize that this was not God's fault, that God was trying to help you. If it was God's fault, why are you still here? Why has God had mercy over you through everything you've been through and you know you should be dead? You know you should be dead. And I don't know who's going to come across this. But if you do, I know that you know that there's things that you've been through that you shouldn't even be here today. Yeah. So anyways, and if it ain't you, it's somebody you know. I guarantee it. So, guys, keep your eyes open. When people's teaching you, please, for the love of God, go to the Bible and look these things up so that you're not being led astray. Look these things up so that you know what God says, so that you know what God tells you to do, not man. The enemy is working so much overtime right now. God's people is being led astray. And it's sad and it breaks my heart. Because it took for me to pray and ask God to sharpen my discernment. Which meant He had to speak through my husband to speak to me. In order to get these things out. Because I had so much stuff going on around me. That I wouldn't have been able to see that. I wouldn't have been able to notice it. Does that make sense? I wouldn't have. So, brothers and sisters, if I've never taught you anything, by sharing my story, by encouraging you, when people's teaching you something, please go do your own research in the Bible, not other books, not Google, the Bible. Go see what Jesus said. If not, you're going to go through what I went through. And you're going to have to keep starting from square one again, getting back up, dusting your knees off and trying to figure out what in the heck went wrong. Where did I go wrong? What did I learn that was wrong? What did I teach? You know, this is why it's important that the ones that's teaching, it speaks about this. You are held more accountable. Y'all be blessed.